Hey everybody, the doctrine of inerrancy, as it is most widely understood today, is a rhetorical innovation of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. And it primarily serves as a rhetorical stopgap to push back against the liberalism and the rationalism of the Enlightenment, and particularly in order to assert the supreme authority of the biblical text, which means asserting that it is not susceptible to the imperfections of human reason. And this is primarily to fight off the challenges to things like the creation as found in the biblical text, the consistency, the univocality of the biblical text, the historicity of the miracles in the biblical text, as well as the origins of humanity. And so when we look back at the Bible itself, it nowhere asserts anything remotely approximating what we now understand by inerrancy. In fact, the biblical authors frequently disagree with each other. And even the earliest Christians acknowledged that there were inconsistencies and incompatibilities. Now, a lot of the idea of inerrancy comes from the idea of inspiration. And 2 Timothy 3:16 is the most popular proof text for that. However, prior to Origen of Alexandria in the 3rd century CE, the Greek word theopneustos, which literally means God breathed, was not understood to mean God breathed in the sense of inspired. It was understood in the sense of God breathed the breath of life into the first human. In other words, all Scripture is life-giving and useful for reproach and so forth. When Origen reinterpreted that to mean inspired, that means that all Scripture comes directly from God. And so now we've got a new source for Scripture, and we've got to reconsider what that means about Scripture. And so Origen says, for instance, that the four Gospels need to agree on all the stuff that has to do with truth and our doctrine and things like that, but can disagree on other stuff. He's not that concerned about that. And even when we get to the Reformation, we have folks like Luther and Calvin saying, meh, it's not a big deal that we have disagreements, that we have Matthew quoting Zechariah, but saying he's quoting Jeremiah. And so in the 19th century, we have things like challenges to the legitimacy of slavery. We have the theory of evolution. We have a new idea about the age of the earth. We have all these new ideas that are resulting from a more scientific approach to understanding ourselves and the world around us that are presenting direct challenges to the authority of the Bible. And so fundamentalists in the late 19th and early 20th century dig in their heels and have to say, if we're going to hold up the Bible as the supreme authority, we cannot give a single inch. The Bible cannot be susceptible to the imperfections of human error, and thus we get the hammering out of the doctrine that we know today as inerrancy.